Hello YouTubers, just want to do a little bit of a documentary here. I'm going to do a walk around of the RC quarter scale Silverado. I've had a lot of questions as far as what I'm using for tires. They're just your standard lawnmower wheels. Nothing special about them, nothing special ordered or anything in that aspect. Heck, if you even look, I got them used. But before I pop the top on this thing, what I wanted to do is show the speed of this thing as far as its ability to be able to turn. Gotten a lot of questions about the turning on it. I'm using a linear actuator, and I just got done installing it's called a servo saver, just something to kind of save my actuator from any impacts. Last video I ended up separating my actuator. Just totally blew it apart. And here we are with the top popped off. I'll show you what I'm using for the steering. All it is just a linear actuator that comes down and underneath the engine. The linear actuator you can order from servocity.com. They have a very large selection of actuators. This one here happens to be a digital RC actuator. You're talking about $300 for that, so prepare to spend some money. So I wanted to go over a couple of things with you here. Obviously the actuator I just showed you, and that's all connected to my linkage for the steering. And I'm using springs, cam springs. A lot of tension there, but the nice thing is there's a lot of spring to them. I tried using springs from your local hardware store, and I couldn't find any springs that had a lot of resistance to it, and I happened to stumble across these here ones in the junkyard. Thought I'd give them a shot. So like I said, this is something new I had just added. The last video I had posted, I ended up blowing the rear end of my actuator apart. Unfortunately, there was no servo saver of any sort, and one of the jumps I took, it ended up pulling the rear end of the actuator apart. It's just too much torque for it. Battery, just your standard 12-volt battery, lawnmower battery. I got put a new clutch on here. And the frame, I'm going to stand back and show you. Nothing four-wheeler about this frame. This is all completely homemade. I didn't take a four-wheeler and butcher it apart. The frame is all homemade, and you know, there are flaws to it, but you know, give you an idea here. I call these my steel band-aids. One of my test runs, I ended up hitting a pole, and luckily I had the push bar on there, but from the weight of the motor and the curvature of the frame, as you can tell, it buckled right here, so the engine went down and it just split the frame apart. But I was able to fix that, thank God. So the project wasn't a total waste. Shocks, They're homemade. Like I said, pretty much everything on this thing is homemade. I don't have them painted yet. On my last two videos, the Silverado mud run and the quarter scale bash, I noticed that the truck really struggled to go through grass. So it had a 54 tooth sprocket on there, and it was just, you know, the thing would max out if I let it go in a straight line, you know, and it took a while for it to get up to speed, but we were estimating speeds roughly about 40, maybe 45 miles an hour. That's a little ridiculous for speeds of a 100-pound ground missile. Anyways, the sprocket is brand new. It's a 60 tooth sprocket. The old one was a 54 tooth, so I hope that makes a big difference. Yep, and it's dual functioning, dual exhaust. Probably why it sounds like a lawnmower. I ordered a aluminum flywheel. I got rid of the cast iron. Now I haven't driven this thing yet since I put the new sprocket on and the flywheel. So the flywheel's all in place and everything. In one of my videos I was having issues with fuel. So this might be kind of interesting to some of you guys. Might. Normally when you order this motor, there's a gas tank that sits right up on top here. And I did away with it, obviously. I needed room for my servo. That's what runs my throttle. Anyways, obviously here's my fuel tank. Now, what I use for a fuel pump, due to the fact that it's gravity fed, I used a windshield wiper fluid pump motor. So what it does, I can show you here is my T section. So it pulls fuel out, filters it right away, goes into the pump. The pump throws it back up here. There's my T section in the hose. So what it does is it fills the bowl up with fuel, and whatever excess fuel that there is dumps right back up into the tank. So it just basically recycles it. Eventually I'm thinking of getting one of the aftermarket fuel pumps. Apparently it goes into the overhead valve system here. How it works, I don't know. But hopefully it works good. I wanted to come around the back here and show you this is four-wheel independent suspension. I've done a lot of research online looking for parts. I come across these U-joints and they worked out perfect. And one of my last videos, I noticed I was having issues as far as being able to keep it in a straight line. I couldn't figure out why in the heck the rear end was sliding around so much. So, since I am human and not perfect, make mistakes, when I was driving this around, I didn't have this brace back here. This was not braced, and neither was this. So what happened was this here part ended up splitting apart, and in doing so, with it splitting apart, these were also being bent every time it would land, and it threw the camber way off. So it just made the rear end really sloppy. But as you can see, I worked that out. And like I said, the engine is a It's a, according to the box, it's a Blue Max. I can't remember how much I paid for it, 100 and something I believe it was, but anyways, it's a 6.5 horse Ford. Apparently I'm having video difficulties here with this camera. It's not mine. Anyways, the engine is a 6.5 horse 4-stroke engine. According to the box, it's 196 cc's. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Like I said, I had put in the aluminum flywheel, so I'll get this thing back together and see how she runs. Like I said, this isn't anything pretty. Hats off to the RC Wizard who built Gravedigger. I have to say that because he put a lot of time and effort into making his model scale. I didn't so much do that. I did it for functionality and just for something fun. And it was very educational, and it was a lot of fun putting this thing together. A lot of trial and errors, and hopefully I worked out all the errors. So hats off to you, RC Wizard. All of you out here on YouTube, hope you enjoy the video. Take care.